So guys, welcome back to another transfer rumour roundup video. It's been a while, hasn't it? But in today's video we've got quite a bit to go over. Transfer news, some completed deals and some managerial speculation as well, all to talk over. If you do go to enjoy, make sure to leave a like and get your thoughts in the comments down below as the season is just drawing closer and closer. Before we do hop into anything though, a big shout out to our sponsors over at OneFootball. As always, you can find the OneFootball app in the top line of the description down below. If you do want to keep up to date with all the transfer speculation and news going on around your club and around the championship as well, OneFootball is really handy to have for that. We're also in the middle of pre-season at the moment, and so as we do head into this new season, if you want to get live updates to your phone whenever a goal does go in, OneFootball is a really handy place to have for that. Also to keep up to date and track the latest stats as well from individual players that your club's looking at, link down below. But without any further ado, let's hop into some of the recent news. So we'll start out with a bit of managerial news. It looks as if Mark Bowen is going to be stepping down as the Reading manager and going back to his role as the technical director there. Now, this one seems to have cropped out of nowhere. Obviously, we're into the beginning of the pre-season now. Reading are looking to have that reshuffle at the club. I posed the question to Reading fans at the end of last season, what do you see as the future for Mark Bowen there? You know, he himself came in I'd say quite controversial circumstances really. Jose Gomez departed, he went from that technical director role to becoming the manager himself. It's looking like he may now be reverting to that, but overall this time at Reading so far had been a little bit hit and miss. I mean, he came in and steadied the ship, didn't he? I think he actually did better than a lot of people thought he would. He guided them into mid-table in what was a largely inconsistent season for them. But if we do look at the general lifespan of a manager at Reading, this probably won't come as a massive shock to any of their fans there. Since Brian McDermott's first stint in charge of Reading, no other manager has racked up over 100 games in charge of the club. And it is a tough job to take on at the moment with the financial restraints on the club at the moment. One manager who has been linked early on has been Alexander Stanjanovic, the Serbian football manager who's got an interesting CV, I think to say the least. He was most recently managing in China where he took charge for 18 matches, winning just 4 of them. And looking at his CV there, he's not particularly been a man that's stuck around very long in the jobs that he has been in. So Reading fans, I'd love to get your input into this one. What do you make of the Mark Bowen news and who do you see as a potential successor to that? And from the names linked at the moment, do you think that would be an improvement or not? And today we've also seen Derby County releasing a statement as well. As we all know, they've had this EFL point deduction fine looming over them for quite some time now. However, in the statement that they have put out today, that reads, in January of this year, Derby County Football Club was charged by the EFL in respect of 2 matters. Charge 1, the club's valuation associated with the sale of Pride Park Stadium in June 2018, and then charge 2, the club's amortisation policy associated with intangible fixed assets. It then goes on to say that the club strongly contested these challenges and the outcome was as followed. Charge 1 was dismissed and charge 2 was also dismissed as well. So what does this mean? No point deduction for Derby County. It was always a bit of a possibility coming into this season. We've already seen it so far with Sheffield Wednesday. So Derby fans, I'd love to get your guys' reaction to this one. But if we do head into some completed deals which have gone through in the Championship in the past few days, Jamal BLACKMAN has completed a loan move to Rotherham this season coming from Chelsea. We've not seen him in the Championship for quite some time. His last proper loan spell was at Sheffield United at this level. He did have 1 loan spell out at Leeds but never played in the league for them. From that 17-18 season with Sheffield United, I thought he was a fairly solid goalkeeper. Wes Harding also completed the move. He joins alongside Angus MacDonald coming in as another option to strengthen their backline. Wes Harding last season for Birmingham not having a particularly great season, although he was played out of position for quite a bit of it. I think probably at his best when he is at right back. You know, we saw him last season playing some games at centre half, at left back as well. I think in quite a few of those games when he was out of position he ended up struggling really. So if they are going to play him at right back in that natural position, I think they've got a decent player there perhaps. Sheffield Wednesday completed the loan signing of Izzy Brown coming on loan from Chelsea. Now he's had multiple loan spells out to the Championship, but probably one of his most successful was last season at Luton. Certainly in terms of his creative stats, got 7 assists for Luton last season, averaged 2.1 key passes per match. I think he'll come in and add that bit of creativity and spark to that Sheffield Wednesday midfield, which was certainly lacking at times last time round. Can either play as that number 10 or out wide. Really for Izzy Brown, it's just a question of keeping him fit for the whole season. Last time round, just managed 17 starts for Luton. If they can get him up and going for a full season, there's no doubt a very good technical player there. Derby completed the signing of Wigan goalkeeper David Marshall. Now, I personally think this one's a pretty good deal. It was a position that they were in desperate need of strengthening, and I think they've got one of the most solid keepers from the Championship last season coming in. Albeit he is 35, so probably comes in as a relatively short option for the next 1 or 2 seasons, but even so, goalkeeper is a tough position to get spot on with your recruitment, and I think they've gone fairly safe with that option. Bristol City completed the signing of Wigan midfielder Joe Williams. They managed to fend off interest from Middlesbrough, who were also linked to him. Brilliant combative midfielder. And actually looking at Bristol City's midfield options for next season, it looks they've really got strength and depth in that area now. The guy gets stuck in. I think he'll turn out to be a fan favourite at Bristol City. Loves the yellow card as well. Was booked 13 times last season. Wycombe completed the free signing of Giles Phillips. He was on loan there from QPR last last season. They've now got him on a permanent basis. And the same can be said for Jason McCarthy as well. Also had him on loan last season from Millwall. They've now got him on a permanent. Birmingham have re-signed John Terrell. I love John Terrell. It's just a question of keeping the guy fit. He's only made 8 starts in his last 2 seasons. Probably his most successful spell though did come while he was a Birmingham player. His last full season in the Championship with Birmingham, he got 8 goals and 3 assists. And then from his time at Hull, just really struggled with injuries. There's a quality player in there, just a question of keeping him fit. Swansea completed the loan signing of Morgan Gibbs-WHITE coming on loan from Wolves this season. I think this one could be a decent deal for both sides actually, which suits them. Gibbs-WHITE's at the point of his career now where he needs regular first team football. Clearly they rate him at Wolves, they've just given him a new contract extension there. But with the options he's got ahead of him at this point in time, he's never going to get into that Wolves side. So a good loan spell out to the Championship where he's going to be playing week in, week out for a good technical side like Swansea. This could really be the time for him to break through, so I think that Swansea are getting a decent deal there. And probably the biggest transfer we've seen go through in the past few days has been Jordan Hugill making that move to Norwich. Now we touched on this one last time round when it was a rumour. This deal has now been confirmed, the deal worth up to £5 million. Now I think that when I mentioned the rumour, there were Norwich fans in the comments down below who had quite a split opinion on this one. I personally think it's a good deal for them. I think going into the Championship this season, they learnt from their mistakes last time round where it was very much plan A and nothing else really. From their recruitment so far this season, I think they're going to be a lot more diverse in the way that they can switch the play up next season. Norwich. Hugill definitely adds a different dimension up front. I think he'll come in and supplement strikers like Timu Pukki, who's a natural finisher, Adam Ide, who I think's got excellent movement. Hugill comes in as a bit more of a physical option who can press really well. Had a really good goal scoring season last time round for QPR, 15 goals in all competitions, although I wouldn't say he is a natural goal scorer. He can take 2 centre halves out the game for 90 minutes, which will allow some of Norwich's more creative players to really get into it. So I personally think that Norwich have got some decent options heading into this season now with that forward line. But those were some of the completed deals which have gone through in the past few days. Now without any further ado, let's hop into some transfer rumours. So we may as well start out with one of the biggest transfer sagas going around the league at the moment. There's a 3-way battle for Wigan winger Jamal Lowe, with reportedly Preston, Millwall and Swansea all agreeing personal terms with him. It's just up to each of the clubs to agree a fee with the administrators there. Now, Jamal Lowe, where would it make most sense for him to actually go to? The Swansea interest we've touched on previously in some of these videos, as they're looking to add another option to their forward line. He got 6 goals and 5 assists for Wigan last season, so it would make sense. Millwall, I think that squad could do with maybe a little bit more pace up front, so the move there would make sense as well. And then even with Preston, we'll come in and add quality. However, we're so overloaded in wide areas at the moment, I wouldn't have thought that this would be a priority position that we'd be looking into. However, he does fit the bill of an Alex Neil player. He's very diverse in the positions that he can play. North End maybe have the edge on it if the player didn't want to relocate, with Wigan being right next to Preston. If I had to guess right now, where do I honestly think he'll end up? I'd probably be edging towards Swansea as the more realistic option really. I just think with the amount of options that North End have out wide at the moment, probably his best positions out on that right hand side. North End have got the likes of Tom Barcusen, Brad Potts, Billy Bowden. Unless we do see him playing more down the middle next season, I'd be very interested to get some North End fans' perspectives on this one. Leave your comments down below. Where do you think he's going to end up? Preston, Millwall or Swansea? West Brom winger Jonathan LEKO, who spent last season out on loan at Charlton, looks to be on the move. A move to Birmingham or Sheffield Wednesday, the 2 clubs in for him at the moment. It looks as if, as of recording, Birmingham have the edge on it at the moment with a fee of around about £1 million to get this one over the line. Last season, put up decent numbers for Charlton considering the fairly limited game time. In 19 starts, got 5 goals and 4 assists. Only 21 years old, he played a variety of positions last season as well, played as a centre forward and out on that right hand side. Adds quite a bit of pace and trickery, would be a very good option. The latest goalkeeper that Birmingham have been linked to has been Charlton shot stopper Dylan Phillips. We mentioned him a lot throughout last season. I hold him in quite high regard actually, considering that he was faced with a ridiculous amounts of shots from last season. His save percentage rate and the amount of points that he actually won for Charlton last season, I think he'd be a brilliant option for Birmingham. I mean, he produced some outrageous double saves throughout last season, and only 25 as well, can only go on and get better. Former Elche winger Ivan Sanchez has also been linked with a move to Birmingham as well. There's been quite long-term interest in this one. He recently posted a farewell message to Elche on his Instagram, so will be available on a free. Good technical player, can either play as a winger or as a number 10. If Birmingham do get some of the deals over the line, which we are mentioning in today's video, could be doing some quite shrewd business over the next week or so. And there's a transfer rumour which came pretty much out of nowhere. SANOGO, a move to Middlesbrough could be on the cards for the former Arsenal striker. Now, I don't know what to make of this one. I can't claim to be an avid watcher of the French League. He spent the last 3 seasons playing there for Toulouse. In 72 appearances, has scored 16 goals for them. Obviously, he's most known for his time at Arsenal. He spent 4 seasons with the Gunners. In 20 appearances for them, just scored the 1 goal. He did have a very brief loan spell out to the Championship at one point in the 15-16 season. Played 8 games for Charlton and scored 3 goals. But I'm not really all too sure where his levels are at. 6'3", so has a bit of physicality to him. I'm very interested to see how he'd fit in under a Neil Warnock system. What do you guys think? Stroke of genius, or do you think that's Middlesbrough scraping the barrel a little bit? Then to the latest on Eze at QPR. Now, we've not touched on him in quite a few transfer rumour roundup videos. Now, there's been long-standing interest from West Ham and Crystal Palace. However, most recently, Fulham have registered their interest in the QPR attacking midfielder. I think that most QPR fans have accepted that it's more than likely that Eze will be off in this window. It's just a question of who actually stumps up that cash from the Premier League. For a side like Fulham, though, I think he would be a very good option with the possession-based football they play. Another creative spark in that midfield. I think a player like Eze would absolutely thrive in that Scott Parker system. One of the potential deals which could be done in that one as well is QPR being keen on Alfie Mawson, who it looks more than likely Fulham are willing to offload. Previously, we spoke about Norwich's interest in the Fulham centre-half, so perhaps a sort of swap deal of sorts could come off for this one, as well as the cash going towards QPR. More than likely that one would be a loan deal if it was to come off. I know he's on a lot of wages, I think upwards of 30 grand at Fulham. I can't see QPR paying that. Tom Lockyer has been another player who has been linked to QPR as well. Quite an interesting situation with him. He is still training with Charlton, but since their relegation, he did have a clause in his contract where should they be relegated to League One, he would be able to leave on a free this summer. So there's bound to be a lot of interest in the Charlton defender. Despite them shipping quite a few goals last season, I actually thought he was a solid member of that back line. 25 years old, available on a free transfer. I think you could do a lot worse than that. And there's even more good news coming Derby County's way. It's looking as if Matt Clark will be heading back to Derby for another season-long loan from Brighton. If reports are to be believed, it's looking as if he's having his medical there today. I think he had a really good first season with Derby there, grew into that role as the season went on. And it was obviously a position where they were lacking a little bit of depth without Clark there, so getting him back on for this season, really big news for them. Now, Blackburn have been linked with a fair few goalkeepers over this transfer window so far. It was obviously a position they were looking to strengthening in after Christian Walton will be returning to Brighton. Domestically, they were looking around for quite some time, but they have turned their attention to the foreign market, to Kaminski. I can't say I know all too much about Belgian football, but that's where he spent his career so far. Most recently playing for Ghent, and then previously for the likes of Anderlecht as well. Interested to see how he gets on. Blackburn have also been linked to Wigan defender Cedric Kipri. Now, this would be some deal to say the least if they were able to pull this off. There's been a bit of Premier League interest in him as well. I remember reporting a few weeks ago West Ham were linked to the Wigan defender. Now, he had an absolutely exceptional finish to the season. In that run of games in the tail end of the season where Wigan were just keeping consecutive clean sheets, Kipri was at the heart of the defence for that. Only 23 years old as well, so there's obviously going to be a lot of interest, but should Blackburn be able to pull that one off, that would be some deal. Liam Lindsay's now being linked with Sheffield Wednesday. He's been linked to quite a few Championship clubs at the moment, as Stoke are looking to offload the defender who didn't have the greatest of first seasons with them. Already Wednesday have added to this position, obviously with the signing of Dunkley. Lindsay now being the latest player to be linked with them. Josh Windass continues to be linked with Sheffield Wednesday as well, another deal which they're looking to get over the line. Now, weirdly enough, earlier on in the week, Preston were also linked with Josh Windass, but that one was quite swiftly shut down by Peter Ridsdale, who said, I can 100% guarantee we are not signing Josh Windass, so that put an end to that transfer speculation with North End. Malmo defensive midfielder Farad Basharu has been linked with a move to Nottingham Forest. It wouldn't be a transfer rumour around that video without Forest being linked to another CDM, would it? But by all accounts, looks to be maybe a bit of shrewd business by Forest, this one. Available on a fairly cheap deal. Quite a tenacious midfielder with a good work rate, can put his foot in, gets around the pitch. I'm interested to see if that one does go anywhere and what Forest midfield will be lining up like next season should the deal go through. And Forest striker Tyler Walker has been the target for Coventry as well, as they're looking to boost their striking options. This one could go through on a loan deal for this season, although I do believe his contract at Forest is up at the end of the season, so I'm interested to know what Forest plans are for Tyler Walker for the future. But apart from that, guys, that will now wrap it up for today's episode. So if you have seen any other rumours that we didn't mention in today's video, then get them in the comments down below, and if you did go on to enjoy it, make sure to leave a like. As always, these rumour videos will continuously be coming out as this transfer window does continue to heat up, so like I said, guys, make sure to stick around and subscribe for some regular Championship content. But thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.